Hi everyone, it's Chris here at Fernglade Farm. I'm doing an ongoing series about a developing food forest in cool temperate conditions in Australia. The farm here generally isn't open to the public and I don't run courses, so it's more of a demonstration and experimentation site, but most importantly it's actually my home. Being cool temperate, the temperature here rarely gets below 0 degrees Celsius and rarely above 40 degrees Celsius. So this means I can grow a wide variety of temperate and subtropical plants, and I do so. At the moment I've got two food forests that contain approximately about 300 fruit trees. There are also raised vegetable beds and culinary and medicinal herbs. Because of the issues in relation to fencing and water, the soil here doesn't maintain dams. It's very well drained. I can't actually run other animal systems. The only animal system I do run is chooks, and I have 12 chooks, and the native wildlife take up all of the other available niches within the food forest and the farm. I'm happy to take constructive questions on the farm, and I'll keep it real by talking about failures as well as the successes. So it's now early spring here at September 2012, and the average temperature is about 13 degrees. The fruit trees are starting to bloom, the vegetable garden production is up, the egg production is down to about, I reckon, about 8 a day, and the fruit trees are all starting to bloom. We've had 3 wet years in a row, and what a wet year means here is about 1400 mils of rain a year, and that's about 55 inches in US terms. So let's get on and we'll have a look at what's going on. One of the failures or learning experiences we've had here is that we've had to move a lot of the berries from underneath the fruit trees within the food forest, and this is primarily due to the wet years, and there's just way too much humidity underneath the fruit trees. And you can see in this raised rock bed that we've actually put all of our gooseberries and jostaberries and elderberries in. And other berries such as the Chilean guavas, the red and black currants and the blueberries we've moved to other raised garden beds. What we're doing about the increased rainfall is to increase the herbage under the food forest. And what you can see here is an apple tree. It's a delicious variety. And underneath the tree we've got a lot of red clover, and red clover is a great plant. It's actually nitrogen fixing, and it's also, you can feed it to the chooks. It's also an edible plant as well too. Some of the other good ground covers that we've tested here are vetch, and this one's growing here with a thistle which has an edible choke. Some other handy ground covers that have turned up recently, and I haven't planted these have just come out of feed from the chook pen, are alfalfa, otherwise known as lucerne. That's growing very well here, and it's very, very deep rooted. So what happens when you have no ground cover? A good example is in the chook pen here, and these are some of the girls out foraging through their deep mulch litter system. Now the mulch here is about 100 to 200 mils deep, so it's quite adequate for their needs, and it gets cleaned out quite regularly. It's great fertiliser for the food forest, but unfortunately the chooks scratch around, and it's just in their nature to do that. So what we've been finding is that where there's no ground cover of plants, the pressure from the underground water comes up and a spring appears. Now that actually happened inside the chook pen, so we've actually had to provide drainage into the chook pen. So you can see through here, and you can see the 90 ml stormwater pipe just on the edge of the chook boundary, and that provides an exit point for the water that builds up from the spring that develops after the rainfall. All that nutrient-filled water from the chook pen doesn't get lost though. It gets captured here in a small stand of the local blackwoods. It's actually a wattle, and it's nitrogen fixing, and it's also reputed to be fairly resistant to fire. Getting vegetation on the ground and as a store of fertility and water is actually the best way to deal with large rainfall. And some of the other successes we've had here with nitrogen fixing plants are tree lucerne, which is Tagaste. It's one of the fastest growing plants here. Part of maintaining a healthy ground cover also involves ensuring that there are enough flowers at most times of the year for the beneficial insects that live within the food forest. And here you can see a lot of self-seeded vegetables and herbs, and they're growing quite well at the moment. This is my first year growing herbs here, and they make a great ground cover. Even though they die back over winter, in early spring a lot of them pop back without having had the chance to self-seed earlier. Now this one here is valerian and it's doing very well. Having a look at the hugelkultur beds, how they're going a couple of weeks on, and you can see here the raspberries are taking, and this is new growth popping out the top of the canes. The blackberry hugelkultur beds have done very well too, and you can see new growth on this cane here. One of the great things about spring is the explosion in growth in all of the fruit trees. Of the earliest varieties of flowering trees are the plums and the apricots and the peaches and nectarines, and here we have a peach. It's of the Golden Queen variety and it's a great cropping tree. One bonus about growing a wide variety of trees is that you can get fresh fruit for most of the year if you're careful. Here we have a number of citrus trees, and on the left is an Australian round lime that crops quite well over winter. In the middle of the screen is a lemon eureka, and that's a very old tree. It's about 7 years now and it's doing quite well. And on the right is a lemon maya, and all of those provide fresh fruit right throughout winter and early spring. Well, that's it for this update. Thanks for taking the time to check out our farm.